This is not a behind the scene for money heist, nor is it a Black Friday crowd crush. This is a real money rain in Vietnam, fought over by dozens of people.
Ra một cái đủ. Có tờ 500, 20, 50, 10.000, 5.000. Mà giật lắm, giỏi lắm, tờ 20, 10 tờ, 2-3 tờ là dữ lắm. Chưa chắc được. Đâu phải một mình mày đâu. Nó đè mày một cái rồi gãy tay, gãy chân, lúc đó mày còn chết lớn nữa.
This is the so-called offering snatching custom in Vietnam, a chaotic race to figuratively snatch the luck from the ghosts. It's a special time of the year where well-to-do business owners and households bring out cash, food, and other valuable items and allow others to come in and snatch them. Whoever managed to catch anything gets to bring it home. Come and join the action with us at one of the most popular snatching spots, a family business at District 5 in Ho Chi Minh City. Let's see how crazy it's gonna get. But to understand what's going on here, we first have to learn about the Ghost Month in Vietnam. The custom, partly influenced by Chinese Buddhist culture, and their similarly named festival called Yulan, held that the time between July and August is when the line that separates the world of the living and the dead are at its thinnest. Spirits of the dead would return to the mortal realm and has to be appeased. In order to prevent hungry ghosts from disturbing their lives, at the midpoint of the month of July, those in the mortal realm prepare ritualistic meals and burn incense and joss paper. Aside from sending offerings to the hungry ghosts in one's own family, mortals must also place food and paper sacrifices in their front yard so as to appease the passing lonely spirits who have no family left to take care of them. This tradition in Vietnam is quite similar in concept with other festivals around the world, such as the Dia de Muertos, or Day of the Dead in Mexico. You can also draw a parallel between Ghost Month and Halloween in the West. However, rather than dressing up and is taken more as a fun get-together, like the case of Halloween, Ghost Month is undertaken with much more reverence and seriousness. After worshiping by burning incense and saying prayers before elaborate offerings, the head of houses often bring out a platter of spare change, cakes, and candies out onto the street. These are the foods that were offered to the hungry souls. The neighboring children will then snatch as much as they can from this platter, and this custom is called Offerings Snatching. However, because it's believed that the more offerings are taken and the greater their values, the luckier a business or the wealthier a family would get. Things start to get quite extreme. As families get richer and businesses grow larger in the south of Vietnam, we start seeing the offerings turning from spare change to big cash prizes, numbering up to millions of Vietnam dong. Since nobody can quite turn down free money that's literally raining from the sky, this ritual, from a well-meaning one, often morphs into a chaotic, violent scene as people literally run over one another to try and snatch as many as they could. Today, we are here at the Five Lamps Roundabout in District 5, waiting for the money rain to come. For the past 30 years, the owner of Pung Hung Traditional Medicine organizes a ritual to honor wandering spirits by scattering money. As such, crowds of people already gather at this time of the year, expecting a lucrative catch for themselves.
Rằm tháng 7 á, là Phùng Nguyên Hãn cúng lớn dữ lắm. 50 triệu, có thể có hơn nữa. Cái tục lệ của người ta từ xưa tới nay giờ là như vậy. Giống như là nó có tổ tiên ông bà từ trước tới giờ.
1 p.m. on the afternoon of the 15th day of the 7th lunar month. Even long before the time that the ritual is set to begin, there are already crowds of people gathering and stopping by on motorbikes to wait for the money to come. Because everyone enters the fray with the hope of snatching as much money as they can, you'd see people coming armed with makeshift tools like these. From tables and buckets to homemade nets fastened to a long pole like these that'll ensure they'd have the first snatch before anyone else on the ground. Right on the hour, everyone looks up. and starts expecting money to fall from the sky. But unfortunately for the crowd waiting with bated breath, nothing happens. The lucrative scene has played out without fail for the past couple of years in this neighborhood, with money totaling up to many people's monthly salary being thrown into the wind by the shop's owner.
Nhưng mà ông bà mất rồi. Bây giờ nói chung ra là làm ăn hơi khó khăn, đã bớt cúng rồi.
As explained by the nearby street vendor, the original owners of the shop had died, bringing with them the grand tradition. The new owners weren't quite as keen on it, and so they have decided to give charity instead, handing out snacks and food to those in need. This practice has also become quite common, where instead of throwing away money or letting people snatch the offerings, people now give out bags of goods to those in need. However, it can get quite chaotic as well. And while Vietnamese law respects it as a form of cultural expression, considering the various controversies and violence that it caused, it has come under fire recently from law enforcement. As such, we also saw heavy police presence at the site to keep the peace and keep participants from getting too heated. Injuries, even deaths, weren't uncommon during offering snatching, when people fought over one another for the prizes. Needless to say, it's a very controversial issue that's very difficult for anyone to decide is a good custom that should still be freely allowed or not. Rooted in superstition, many people believe that it has no place in the city, or possibly the country at large. But more notable is how it often leads to a violent and often unflattering scene of Vietnamese clambering over one another for free money. And it's been the scene of many crimes and issues, as the frenzied people can easily become agitated and aggressive. One of the worst problems that authorities have to deal with at the moment are the presence of snatching gangs. They're organized crime groups that travel to every location that performs the ritual and uses violence to make sure that they get the best offerings out of anyone else, often attacking bystanders and other participants to that end. While this is clearly a crime, the fact that they're so aggressive and organized means there's little that anyone could do when they sweep in. It's clear that at the end of the day, the scene is an intriguing one for a great many people who visited Vietnam. And while we don't recommend joining into the mosh pit for your own safety, if you're in the country at this time of the year, there's a good chance that a tour around the city will give you a view of this strange custom.